time they shine your light in the sky, don't go to it. The bat is dead. Bury it. Consider this mercy.
Tell me. Do you bleed? You will.
What's going on, y'all? Neo Synapse here for the Superpowered review with my thoughts on Batman v Superman. I want you to bear with me and keep an open mind as I bring some context to this thing. Now, Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, began early screenings at 6 p.m. on the 24th, but that didn't stop many fans from finding a way to grace their eyes with the epic showdown between probably the two most influential comic book characters in the world. Early word of mouth from fans got everyone's hopes way, way up by calling it the best superhero movie this year, if not ever. Fans are in love with Ben Affleck's Batman and promised us that the trailers didn't ruin the movie in any way at all. Then, reviews from movie critics started pouring in, and while some are pretty positive, the vast majority are unabashedly negative. Mind you, I didn't even see a positive review that wasn't riding a fence of some kind or other. The movie currently sits at 31% on Rotten Tomatoes with 196 reviews. What's funny is, when a movie has a high tomato score, fans will use it as evidence of the amazing quality of the film. If not, fans will quickly call out the many movie scores on Rotten Tomatoes that don't make sense to them. Review scores will have you believe that you can't trust fans, and fan reviews will have you believe that critics are either bought, out of touch, or put undue pressure on genres they dislike. The word of mouth didn't start there. Mind you, there were articles talking about how studio execs loved the movie to the point of standing ovations. There was also talk of the movie not coming together at all, and needing to make $1 billion if the current DCEU plans were going to be kept. There were talks of Ben Affleck even doing rewrites to the script while on set and in the Batsuit. There was even talk of David Goyer's script being bad, and Ben Affleck saying the only way he would do it is if his pal and Oscar-winning screenwriter Chris Terrio could touch it up. Of course, there are denials all over the place, but it's too late. It was out there in the open for people to believe or disbelieve. So, who was I supposed to trust before I saw this thing? Not a damn body, but myself. I love comics from both DC and Marvel. Batman and Spider-Man are my favorite characters, and while I grew up on Marvel, I prefer the depth of DC characters in the comics. I also consider myself fair. If you have seen any of my reviews, you know that no matter how much I liked something, if there's a negative to be called out, I do it. And that's whether it's a Man of Steel or an Avengers movie. Marvel movies are known for a less real world and lighter tone, while, as of Man of Steel, DCEU movies took things very seriously with brooding color palettes. This has become sort of a rallying cry for fanboys on either side. Marvel movies are fun, then DC movies are gritty and realistic. The truth, as usual, is somewhere in the middle, and at the end of the day, there's room for any and everything. One of the chief complaints about Batman v Superman was that it took itself too seriously. To me, that's another way of saying I don't like the tone of Zack Snyder's DC. What Snyder is clearly trying to do is bring these heroes into our world instead of the other way around. How would we truly react if we found out about Kryptonians and flying aliens and bat vigilantes and impossibly strong, immortal Amazonian goddesses? So in all truth, a lot of these critics just don't like that, and that's fine. But there's a difference between not liking a theme and making the movie out to be bad because of it. But is there truth in what they're saying? Is the movie awesome, as fans have been saying, or is it trash, like most critics have been saying? Again, the truth is somewhere between those things. I really, truly enjoyed myself watching this movie. After seeing the movie and processing it, I can say a 31% rating is completely unwarranted. However, I can see areas where a critic who doesn't know the comics would see bad instead of ill-advised, maybe. Certain scenes required foreknowledge to completely understand, in my opinion. Much has been made of the dream and nightmare sequences in the film, and I have to say, They didn't help at all. Cool things happened in them, but they didn't push the narrative forward and could very well have confused the shit out of someone. One of them in particular was really, really cool. I won't spoil what happens, but it gets me excited for the future of the DCEU. All that said, this movie should have been made more mainstream accessible as far as that goes. Snyder has gone on record as saying he's a comic book geek and he's making this movie for comic book geeks. That can't fly. The geeks are the core, but you need to be accessible to far more than just us. Most of the story was very accessible, mind you, but there were parts that took you out of the story. You sat and you asked yourself, wait, what if just happened? Why is this happening? The first 2 acts were great, mind you, aside from the aforementioned nightmare sequences. It sets up Bruce Wayne's hate and distrust for Superman beautifully, and it also laid the groundwork for one of the most important scenes in the movie. Zack Snyder has always had an artistic flourish to his work, but this movie upped the ante a little, and I was impressed. The dialogue wasn't amazing, but it wasn't anywhere near bad either. Including those dream scenes, I'd say there were about 6 or 7 scenes that stood out to me as disjointed. They came up out of nowhere, even though they made sense on paper. The third act is where the problems begin. Lex Luthor's true villainy came to the fore, but it didn't feel organic. Article upon article and even some trailers make it clear that Luthor is pulling strings to make sure these 2 titans clash, but the methodology was thin at best. And by the time the actual fighting between Supes and Bats started, it was over. That could just be the fanboy wanting more in me, so I'll leave that for you to decide. To me, it felt rushed. The title of the film is Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, but it's a misnomer if you're expecting battle. Most of it was psychological and impending. A lot of build-up for very little payoff. What about the Dawn of Justice part? Many critics said that there was too much preparation for the future in the movie. I disagree with that. What few scenes there were in the movie that set up the future did so tastefully and fit within the narrative. Then came Doomsday. I still think they should have used a different big bad, and I still think they should have held that back from the marketing, but here we are. Doomsday was basically what Doomsday was when he first appeared in the comics. If you know anything about Doomsday, as far as abilities, and have seen the trailers, then you know what to expect. Let's just say that the third act brought the movie way down for me, though it had incredible potential. Parts of it were fantastic, great action, but again, it brought it down for me. Henry Cavill bores the crap out of me. He's soulless when he's in that uniform, unless he's in an extreme situation, and even then, sometimes it's like, dude, feel something. His action sequences were awesome, as is expected from Zack Snyder by now, but the guy needs to let loose a little bit. I get the whole persona of Superman thing, but I've never felt that he was supposed to be a damn robot. Superman in this movie is more experienced. This isn't his first rodeo, but it almost feels like he wants to care instead of that he does care. Everything about Superman in this movie is very cool. Henry Cavill's acting, however, verges on cold. Ben Affleck is awesome. He plays a 20-year veteran of the vigilante game. He's lost people and he's been betrayed by people. All of it shows in his attitude and his mannerisms. When he was initially cast as Bruce Batman, I was certain he'd kill it as Bruce Wayne, and he does. What I wasn't so sure about was his Batman. He nails it. He's visceral, agile, angry, and his fighting is on point. Batman's intellect is on full display here, but it's tempered with his anger. Batman's knack for deception, his intelligence, strategic mind, and his raw power are all here, but focused through his anger at what's going on with Superman. Props to the stunt people and everyone working on all the gadgets, environments, and the bat suit in this movie. They absolutely nail it. EISENBERG plays a very different Lex Luthor than fans are accustomed to. Gone is the cool, collected, but probably bipolar Lex Luthor we know from some comic iterations and the Justice League Unlimited animated series. What replaces him is a brilliant but angsty young tech genius with daddy issues. He's almost like a younger, less campy version of Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor from the Christopher Reeve films. He sets himself apart by being far crazier. He's never scary in the Hannibal Lecter sense, but he's definitely out of his mind. I loved it. It was a fresh take on the character, and it didn't rob Lex of what makes him Lex. He hates Superman. He's brilliant. His grudge is more philosophical than personal, at least at first. I can't wait to see him again. Like Eisenberg, Irons' take on his character is new to the movie-going audience. He plays Bruce's guardian slash friend slash mechanic slash don't call him a butler. A very capable Alfred presents himself as Bruce's conscience, albeit a useless one when all is said and done. Batman is very stubborn. Jeremy Irons does a great job here, even though I prefer the stylings of Alfred from the Nolan films. What can I say about Gal Gadot? Amazing? Fantastic? Nailed it? Yes. The first appearance of the character on the big screen in her 75-year history, and she absolutely steals the show. She's without a doubt the best part of the third act, and now I'm super excited to see her in her own movie. An image was released on the 24th by Patty Jenkins, the movie's director, featuring Wonder Woman's family on Themyscira. In this movie, she plays an interesting role. I can't really say without spoiling it, but she definitely holds her own with the big boys, and proves she's every bit worthy of being in the DC Trinity as the other two. All in all, this was a super entertaining and very enjoyable movie. If I had to give it a score, I'd say a solid 6, maybe 7 out of 10. Fuck Rotten Tomatoes, go see this for yourself. You may not fall head over heels for it, but I'm sure you'll enjoy it. It's about on par with Age of Ultron as far as being enjoyable, in my opinion. Although, Age of Ultron was faster paced, so that might change things for those of you with ADD or something. Anyway, thanks for stopping by, and God bless you if you've made it this far into the video. Keep it locked here on Twitter and on Facebook for more Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and the rest of the Justice League. See y'all next time, inside the review.
Better now, don't we? Devils don't come from hell beneath us.
They brought their warrior.
No, they come from the sky.
The world has been so caught up with what he can do that no one has asked what he should do.
That's how it starts. The fever, the rage, the feeling of powerlessness that turns good men cruel.